anything less. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to First Stream Podcast. I will be your host tonight. I will be the ship master. I will be the direction turner. Welcome to First Stream Podcast. We got a lot for you tonight. We got done in for the question of the month. We want to look at a little bit of fallout of the women's NCAA tournament. You know, doing very well. We got some people in the draft. Imagine that. We're going to look at some of the early reaction from MLB. We know it's a long season. We're just talking about what's going on early on now. The NBA playoffs is heating up. We got that as well. People being traded to different places. Stephon Diggs to the Texans. You know, things to look about right there. You got The Rock coming back to WrestleMania tonight. So we got quite a bit of stuff to get out here, information put out there for you guys to check us out, see what's going on, see how much you like. Stay with us, join us, you know, enjoy the show.
Yeah. First Stream Podcast. Yeah. Too Danny. Dre on the beat. You know. Yeah. What's your favorite squad? Tell me who you going with. First Stream Podcast, yeah, we keep it lit. We got the latest updates. We don't pump fake. Like, comment, share. We don't care. Feel free to hate. We got great guests join us. You should chime in. Chudini on the intro for the time being. Lady A, representing Washington. Pick Washington, everything Washington. Aunt Mo coming out of Dallas, you know the business. Said them Georgia Bulldogs ain't quitting. Yeah, if you ain't watching sports, you ain't living. About to get my mattress Mac on, about to bet $1 million, bet $1 million. Let's talk about it. We all grown and cool, we can talk about it. Before we hit the news, we gon' talk about it. Oh, you wanna bet? Let's pop a bottle about it.
Like the little hook at the end there. Again, welcome to First Stream Podcast. I am Cedric, aka Blink 71. We got a show tonight. Our lead man, the man who helps us get everything started. Pick. He's out on assignment for the night. We have given him permission to do what he needs to do. We'll let us catch up with him later on once he get back. Anyway, while everyone is coming in, because you know we do have day jobs like everyone else, we're gonna start with the people that we have here. We're gonna start with the light, the sunshine. Miss, I got a find for you. Lady A, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing just fine, just fine.
It's a lovely Saturday today.
Yes, it's very nice out here today.
But it's not that nice. We still got a little chill in our air. We still got chill in our air. So we're not Texas nice, but it was a decent day.
Okay. That's cool. So what we're gonna do now is wait a minute. There I see. Look like the man, the myth, the cowboy hater and lover at the same time. The man that says that they got to do it. If they don't do it right, I don't want to hit. My man, Aunt Mo.
First of all, let me say this. John, I just disagree wholeheartedly. That's the first thing. Secondly, yeah, man, I ain't going to lie to y'all, man. I had to come to Jerry talk, man. You know, I realized that I was embittered by their pathetic display of an organization. I'm back, man. Okay. You won't hear me saying much negative things unless it's just a flat out truth, because I may tell you a bunch of things, but a lie I won't tell. Okay. But how's everybody doing this evening? Kid peed on herself here, y'all, so I had to handle that really quick. So gotta get the parenting gotta come first. You understand?
It happens.
You already know. So with that being said, we're gonna bring in the college analyst himself, the man who's met some of these pros off and on everywhere, the new guy, but he always bringing the steam, our man Alvin.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey,
good evening.
Alvin.
And Lady A, you are right. It is a little still chilly out here.
Yeah, just a little chill.
Little chilly. At least in that Texas wind or that Texas air, because I got it doing a lot better down there.
Man, it was a little breezy out here today. Don't get it wrong. Now it was
breeze. Man, it was howling out here too. So it must have been something going on both places, because we had 30, 40 miles on this side.
Yeah, it was pretty breezy out here today as well.
Yeah.
Last but not least, the man we're gonna bring in now, the man who is flossing these hats. Because every time you turn around, he got one. He gonna introduce himself and introduce himself and the hat as well. Our man, question of the month, Dump Truck Don.
Look at this. Look at this one.
Yeah. Classic Whip. Classic Whip is the name of the hat from strawandwool.com. It's a black-owned hat company. It was featured on the NBA Finals last year. They had commercials and all that stuff. They're doing it up in Phoenix. They will ship your hat and be there within a week. One of a kind.
This looks like a Kentucky Derby looking hat. Turn that thing to the side.
We got a couple of safety pins in that joint right there. Got a feather over here. Got a nice little set of matches. Yeah.
That's how you know it's real. It's a feather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let me before we get too far started, let me acknowledge the people we got in the chat. Don was in the chat, but he want to let you know, Mr. He was first out there today. That was a Don. Thank you for jumping on.
Hey Don. Look. Hey Don. Hey Don.
And our regular, of course, Bruce Last. He shows up every day. He usually brings some nuggets with him as well. Welcome, Bruce. Our man alive in Atlanta. He a Washington fan, but his wife is a Georgia Bulldog fan. John.
Hey, John.
I gotta put that in there, John. I can't help it.
Here come trouble right behind.
And here come Mr. Father himself. Sanchez. What's on Sanchez Overton? Oh, did he shoot one in Lady A? Yeah, he did.
Shady.
Then he shot one and to get him later the prodigal son. Okay, cool. There's more. John say, "Aunt, I disagree with your beard."
With the beard. Well, what your beard do, John?
What the beard do? Then he also says, "That's pasted on." Sanchez said the beard is pasted on. Really? He says, he's gonna have to find a name for you, Al. He's gonna find a nickname for you, Al. So Sanchez, he good for that. He good for that. Trying to come up with something out of the blue.
Some nicknames.
Well, I'm curious. I think I'm curious to find out, but we're doing a wait and see basis.
Who is Silky Johnson Jr.? What is that Don that you're talking about?
Oh no, he's talking about Don.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He called him Quaker.
He said the Black Amish kid. Boy, look here, look at Sanchez. Look at Sanchez.
Hey, tell him your beard real.
My what?
Get this. See, hold on. Here you go. Wait.
Quaker boots.
Oh no, he's just saying he's jealous of it because he can't.
No. Look what Corey said after.
What did he say? He called it.
Yeah, he called it Don Silky Johnson Jr.
Yeah, he called me a hater.
Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, we got a lot today. We're gonna jump right in here real quick and just get it started. We're gonna talk about women's.
Can I acknowledge one person real quick?
Go ahead, Don.
Mr. Alvin Porch.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. You helped me become Dump Truck Don without you even knowing.
Oh man, how that happen?
Your cousin, Alonzo Robinson.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for him. He said, yeah, I used to work for him, and he's like, I told him I went to Bowie High School. He said, my cousin Alvin used to go there. He's Alvin Porch. Okay. You know him? Yeah. And I got a job. So, yeah, driving dump trucks.
Okay, well, definitely, man. Small world, I see.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Good,
okay.
That's what's up.
So back to the
sports.
The NCAA women's. The NCAA women's Final Four. They set another record. Anybody notice that?
I figured that had to be.
Always.
The ladies, the place was packed out. For one, it was packed out.
Yes, it was.
Got to the point where tickets were $2,000 a piece, which I'm happy to hear about that. Which means the lady are getting some attendance that they deserve from years and years not being watched.
Right.
So this is big for them, and of course Aunt, the girl's still in there. She did her thing. She showed up late.
Give me the white girl.
But
cheap.
Really,
I swear.
Twitter's going ballistic over this. Twitter's going absolutely berserk over this, man. I think the world is full of losers, man, if I'm being honest with you. People want to make excuses for every little thing, bro. Nobody gave me an excuse when Dez caught it, okay? So I don't want to hear anybody else's excuses about why they team ain't in there. If it was a white thing, if it was a black thing, it's a winner and a loser thing, in my opinion. So y'all can take that to the bank.
Your check going bounce.
And Mo said it here first.
What about you, Alvin? Go ahead. What you got?
But I don't know if y'all noticed though, towards the end of that game, how it was curious how the calls just seemed to go a little bit towards Iowa's way to make sure that they had an Iowa South Carolina final. Because I think that was what the ratings wanted, what the bookies wanted, and what the country wanted. I just know it just got a little one-sided for me. But like I said, I was going for Iowa, so I wanted to see it that way. But I just, like I said, I just didn't know. I mean, I'm just getting a little fun. I'm just getting a little curious about some of these pointed calls and welcome outcomes that we're starting to see in sports, especially in that women's game.
What about you, Don? You got anything to say about this one?
It kind of reminds me of the Lakers and the Sacramento Kings back in, I think it was like 2002 in the Western Conference Finals. And by hook or by crook, the Lakers were going to win. That's what I felt like. That's when I really lost my whole love for basketball behind that whole thing. And this just felt like a little bit of that. So, yeah. Let's go South Carolina.
Lady A?
I don't even care who wins. I want everyone to gain from this. Right. Kind of like you said, a lot of people weren't watching women's basketball for years. Now that we're seeing this influx, and it's being consistent, it's gradually becoming more and more. As time goes on, there'll be no excuse to pay them girls. There'll be no excuse to say, hey, this disparity between the WNBA and the NBA. When you have these young ladies in college getting more ratings than NBA, that speaks volumes to me. Because when these young ladies transition over to the WNBA, fans are still going to watch. They're going to continue on. And then the next generation and the next generation. So I love it. I don't even care who wins the game because, in a sense, who wins is women's basketball. That's who wins. So I'm
curious. I'm curious on that, Lady A. I'm curious to see if the following does carry over to the WNBA, because that's what's been the fall off for the problem for the WNBA, why they can't get the money, because they have these stars in college who get a following, but it doesn't carry over to the WNBA.
Right.
I know Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon we haven't seen from an individual standpoint and different things along those lines, but I'm just curious, man, to see if it will carry over, man, because years past, history has shown us that you can be great in college, have a great following, but not necessarily have that carry over with the WNBA.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that it is because when you have right now, currently, people are so locked in to women's NCAA basketball, right? They're not locked into the men's to the point where they don't even know who's playing. They don't know the players, right? So when you have the women and people can identify multiple players and they're all around the same age range, people are going to follow, like Angel Reese saying, which we're going to talk about in a second, saying she's going to enter into the draft. That's big news. How often can you say you've heard that a woman says they're going to enter into the draft and people are making it big news? Right. You can't say that. So I feel like it's progressing over time, which is good for women's basketball as a whole.
Can we also talk about how much hate it sounds like when she questioning if it was a foul call or not? You sound real salty, Angel. I want you to sit over there and get ready for the draft. Don't start hating, man. Move on. It look nasty on you.
Well, I mean, she I think she did an interview with Vogue to make that announcement. Like, that's big. So she's capitalizing off of everything, and she's very young. So kudos to her to not just say, "Oh, I'm entering into the draft," but she's making money here, there. You have a lot of young ladies getting tennis shoe deals and all kinds of stuff now. So as these players that we see in college go over into the pros, kind of like what Corey said, there are no superstars on the men's level. So as they go into the pros, who we gonna watch? Who we looking for? Right. Are we gonna be interested in seeing their draft? Because we don't even know them.
I think the difference is the NIL money. Like the women's NIL money, they're making more than they are going to make. Some are making more than NBA, WNBA stars. So why come out and go to the draft if I'm getting more money here? And with the NBA, you get NIL money, but guess what? I can go to the NBA and get like millions off the break, and now you'd be good. Like they said, it was Tobias. Somebody who's playing basketball is making almost as much money as Lamar Jackson, and he's a scrub. I'm like, shorty, there's so much money in NBA money.
It is.
They leave after 1 year and be gone. They don't care.
Yeah.
So there's a difference in the money and stuff. So that's why you got your women sticking around in the college ranks for so long and collecting that money, because they know when they get to that WNBA, this is it, shawty.
But so that's another story. That's another story. We've already talked about NIL once or twice on this podcast, and that's another story we're gonna have to bring back again, because now we've seen NIL. Strike differences in teams in different sports as we go along. But Lady A already alluded to it, so we might as well go ahead and go on down that street about Angel Reese and LeBron James' son, Bronny James, deciding to enter the NBA draft.
Right.
The thing about I had a conversation earlier today with someone as we were talking about it, and they were like, well, the way he did it was he said it where he could keep his amateurism by saying he's going to transfer just in case he didn't get drafted. I was like, he's going to get drafted.
No, he's not.
I think he's going to get drafted.
As a favor, maybe as a favor.
Let me say this first. The reason I think he's going to get drafted is because LeBron is willing to buy any contract he has and go to the team where his son is, so he can at least play in 1 year. LeBron ain't got many years left in him. We done all seen it. We don't all seen it. He ain't got many years left.
But the question is, should he enter the draft? Is that best for him and his personal development as a player? I think he should stay in school.
Is he gonna go to the G League?
That's all he's gonna do. Unless they do a LeBron call up. That doesn't make sense. I mean, I think LeBron and his whole family is a great family. But I do disagree with this situation because I think he's putting too much pressure on this young kid. He's not, like Ant said, he's not draft ready, man. No kid. If you draft strictly on talent, he's not ready. He potential talent, maybe. I don't know. I'm not an NBA evaluator. But no. But just in regards to being, if you're on the bench for a sub 500 USC team, you can't tell me you're averaging 5 points a game. You can't tell me that you're even a top 15 player in the NBA on the NBA team right now, unless your father's LeBron James.
Well,
privilege.
That kid's been dealing with pressure his whole life, respectfully. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's more so, I let somebody give an argument on it. You had the heart thing, or however that came about, and then you didn't get to go through any regular off-season programs. There is a step up from high school to college. They're a bad team. They're not good. So it would benefit you to go in the portal because he's probably a kid that's also not used to losing. So you need to put him in a position to where I told somebody today, I said, I think he should go to Duke, to be honest.
That's a great choice.
Duke, getting with a winning program, get exposure, be able to continue to develop, and then going to the draft. I think somebody drafting him, that to me, that's on the same level as picking up one of the Antetokounmpo brothers. Like it doesn't hold much stock because that kid's gonna have a rough toe ahead if they think drafting him because LeBron wants to play with him is gonna do anything for their organization. You don't want to waste a draft pick on this kid right now. And that's just
I don't think,
especially for a team that doesn't have a lot, being the Lakers.
What if it's the Wizards?
Oh, the Lakers ain't doing it.
That's an old Wizards thing there, man.
You don't think they will? I think they'll waste a second round draft pick on.
No.
A second round pick? Yeah. Because second round picks usually don't make it. Why not?
See, here's the thing. The only teams that's gonna draft him are the teams that feel like they can take advantage of a 2-for-1 deal.
The Wizards?
We're not even talking about them because I hope they learned their lesson in regards to drafting years ago, but clearly they haven't. But I just feel like if someone drafts him, I would prefer him going into the portal. And kind of alluding to what Ant said, going to a different team can do wonders for him. He can start playing at a different level. And I just don't I think it's too early for him. Now, Angel, on the other hand, I feel like she can go into the pros. I feel like it may be a decent time. And she'll have her degree. She'll have, all of that. So I feel like, we have two different sides of the coin when we're talking about these two going into the draft. She's ready. She can play on a high level, a higher level than where she is. She may not be the best on the court. That may be, something that she has to make an adjustment to, depending on what team she goes to. That may, but that's anybody. When you're used to doing well and being a part of a successful program, when you go over to the pros, you may not be with a successful program. That's real. That's reality. But
she's a legitimate top 5, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lydia. I said she's a legitimate top 5 pick, like you were saying. Unlike Bronny.
Right. So I feel like with her, kudos to her. Get your money. Go to the pros. That's what she wants to do with her career. Bronny, first of all, I really don't even know if this is a decision he made and he's comfortable with. I feel like he may be driven by other forces. Someone else is telling him to do this, but I feel like he should. I mean, because think about it. That was a chess move to do both, into the portal and into the draft. So I feel like with him, someone's advising him to do this, and he should go into the portal.
Yeah, Maverick Carter, more than likely. We talked about this today too. Not Maverick Carter. Is that the guy who's the little short guy?
You making jokes?
Huh?
You got short jokes?
Man, come on, man. I'm being serious here. The guy, LeBron's guy.
It's Maverick Carter.
Right. I think it's the right guy. It screams Maverick Carter, and it's just a play for positioning on where he wants to go in college. Yeah. I think if I was him, why wouldn't I go if I had an opportunity? We got to be honest here. Now, we're talking about a kid who's probably not lacking in any confidence. You know who your dad is. And if you know that he's probably going to be coming anywhere you're going to go, that's still a level of safety that I could lean into to be like, I could find my way. It won't be all the pressure on me, So do I think it's solely his choice? No. To go into the portal, yes. But to declare for the draft, I think it's just a smart move still, because you do want to see if there's some suitors out there, Is there somebody who's willing to take a chance to say, all right, he came from good stock, maybe he could do something for us in the future?
But isn't it a different type of pressure? I'm not talking about pressure from us to get it better, like you're saying. He would be kind of coddled under his father, but also you got the pressure from your teammates. Do you really belong? Would you be here if he wasn't your father?
He didn't get
that's a peer pressure within a team confine that can weigh on you a lot heavier than society. You can ignore the noise outside, but when you go to practice every day, go to battle with these guys, and these guys looking at you like they know you don't belong because you only here because your father is here.
LeBron James' son. You've been getting that in high school.
No, but I mean, he still was a little bit allowed to develop. He showed talent. My question is this: would this even be an option if he wasn't Bronny James?
No, I don't think it would be. No, he wouldn't enter the portal under these circumstances. I don't think so. He's not at that level. That's what we're talking about.
Only because of his specs, though. height, weight, and stats. That's come on. That kid's at the end of the bench on any team.
I'm gonna agree with Ant on some of what he was saying earlier about the fact that he'll be playing with his dad. It gives him a step up on everybody else, whether the team likes it or not.
Right.
For real, whether the team likes it or not.
Yes.
Right.
Because he'll be practicing just like he practices every day. He'll be shooting just as much as he shoots every day. He'll be running just as much as he runs every day. He'll be in there having to sit down in front of the camera and watch film every day along with his pops. You have to do this to be better. You have to do this to be better. And he may get a chance to be better.
Right.
And he may be a Ruby, that just need a little cleaning, to shine as well as he can shine down the line. Because again, like you said, he was coming off the injury, he was recovering, and they eased him back into it.
Right.
So I mean, it could go either way with that. I see what you're saying, Lady A, and I can see what Ant was saying about bringing him on at the same time. It could go either way. So if he don't get drafted, he can stay. He can go to the portal.
Right. One thing I do want to say though, he's a big name right now, and with a big name comes a big target. Do you want that target on your back in college, or do you want it in the pros? Because you being LeBron James' son, you're a target. So I feel like, it is a sense kind of what Al was saying. You're going to have to prove yourself no matter where you go at this point. And going over to the pros, that's tougher. That's at a different level than it is for college. So I feel like having those extra years in college or extra time in college would benefit him to have that target on his back on that lower level versus going over to the pros. But I mean, I wish him well either way, but I do feel like also it's a contingency plan. If nobody drafts you, you're in the portal, whatever. But I wish him well. I mean, as far as his career as a whole, not for just right now.
Okay.
I want to make that clear because I feel like him entering the draft, as we stated, LeBron ain't got much time left.
True.
So is that a right now decision so that just to make sure that they play together, or is it something that is valuable to him and his career? I don't, because he's not LeBron when LeBron got drafted. He's not at that level.
Nope, nowhere near.
We got a lot to cover, so we're gonna get off of that subject right quick. We're gonna move over here to the NBA draft itself. The NBA playoffs. It's coming down the pike. As you can, I mean, real quick, fast, and a hurry. I think the East has sewn up who is going to make the playoffs right now, and they are Atlanta and Chicago in the play-in position for 9 and 10 in that position. So the East is fine. The West is still fighting because they still have 5-6 teams that have a chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
So that's coming down to the last few games or so. To see the position, a couple losses here, a couple losses there, you can go from 5 to 10, 5 to 9, and being falling to the play-in position.
Go Lakers.
We already said right now that Golden State is still one of the hottest teams, even though they lost the other night. They're still one of the hottest teams since the halfway point. They are 7-3 in the last 10 games.
Remember, we said that though. Remember when we talked about the standings in the past, said we were, I remember me and I can't remember who else was saying it. I'm like, you can't count Golden State out. You can't, because they're the type of team that you count them out and next thing you know, it's like, oh, y'all here again? Yeah, this is what we do? Yes. So, but don't you notice that every year when we talk about it, when we get to this point, the East is always set. The East is always set. It's the West.
You're right.
Last minute.
But I think the East gonna have a surprise for us this year, and I say that to say that the whole idea behind the 76ers getting Joel Embiid back, that's going to shake up a lot of things because then you're going to have a 7 or 8 seed that's really a 2 or 3 seed, and that's going. Then you're going to have people trying to potentially maneuver not to play them early because nobody wants that coming down the back in the first round. So I think that aspect in the East is surprisingly giving the East a little bit of sauce. Because like you said, the West is a dogfight every day, and it's been that way
every day.
every day since before the All-Star break. I mean, everybody, like I said, I think it's 2 games separating, like you said, between 4 and 9 or something like something crazy like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Every year though, it's ridiculous.
Yes. And right now, Philadelphia will play Milwaukee. Because the lower seed to go to Boston, and Milwaukee's in the second position.
See,
so the Sixers will have to play Milwaukee.
That's some drama for with
Spencer, who the head coach in Milwaukee?
That's some drama for you behind, baby.
You talking about extra juice for that playoff series?
That's why I
said they'll slide that on the prime time, because that's gonna be some drama in that series every game.
And every single
game. All I know is I need these Hawks to show up.
Oh, Sid, come on, man.
I need these Hawks. I need the Hawks to show up, man. I need the Hawks to show up. I need them to show up.
What, they gonna show up for dinner? What they gonna show up for dinner? What they gonna show up for?
At least we playing unlike the Wizards.
Hey now,
Wizards suck for 40 some odd years. They don't count.
I'm pulling for LA. I'm a Lakers fan.
It was a curse on them since they became the Wizards. Stop it.
No, they was trash way before then. Stop playing.
First of all, they became even worse when they became the Wizards. They have made it to the second round of the playoffs probably like once or twice since they became the Wizards.
Playoff Pierce was there.
They haven't won 50 games in over 40 years.
The second round of the playoffs, we've made it since they became the Wizards.
They haven't won 50 games since 78. All right? That's a long daggone time ago. They were trash. They had Wes Unseld as a head coach who was a great NBA player. And every year his team got worse and worse and worse and worse coaching-wise. So they moved him up to GM and they sucked, drafting over and over and over again. So it wasn't just the Wizards. There was the Bullets that sucked as well. They were trash. They've been trash for well over 40 years.
Let's be real. The Bullets did more than the Wizards. That's real. The Bullets did way more.
Garbaggio.
I haven't heard that in a long time. I haven't heard Garbaggio in a long time.
We'll have to catch Ann on the backside of that right there, because he out of the room right now. He'll be back in a minute.
I'm back.
There you go. We're talking about the NBA playoffs. Go ahead and give us your 2 cents.
What part of the playoffs?
Either one.
So one of the things that was important to me was my Mavs are surging. Let me be very biased here. But the thing was, thinking about the Kyrie trade. Now that's been 2 years now.
Yeah.
And he was graded as a D. They asked him about it a couple of nights ago, and he said, I got a screenshot of my phone of when I first got traded, and y'all gave me a D. And so it's interesting because I'm wondering, was the NBA wrong about Kyrie in general? Not the trade, but about Kyrie. We know if we're being sane at all that was very overplayed. He was a little prima donna-ish with the wanting to leave to go to Boston and things of that nature. But overall, I believe this guy has been typecast improperly, and that he's actually a good guy with a big heart that knows how to play basketball on a very high level. And I always said it would take him and Luka time to gel, to figure out who's going to do what, who's the closer, which night are we going to pick it. But I'm excited to see what they do. Right now, we'll be playing the Clippers. They have a 2-game lead with about 4 or 5 games to go. So it's looking like we may be locked in to play them. Hindsight, I'm not scared of them. But this could be the run that we were looking for from the Mavericks. So that was kind of my standpoint of the playoffs from a selfish Mavericks perspective.
Okay. Makes sense.
Well, I do agree with. I think the Mavericks are making a push. They for the Kyrie. Let's go to Kyrie first. I think you're right. You're right about a lot of things you say about Kyrie, but I think Kyrie had some growing up to do a little bit himself too. He kind of alienated himself from a lot of things from his comments when he could have just remained quiet on some things. But like I said, he doesn't get enough credit for what he does off the court in regards to with his charity efforts and things along those lines. So I think he should be commended for those things, because he's a hell of a player. And it's very few people in the NBA more skilled or as skilled as Kyrie from an individual basis. So I'm a big Kyrie fan. I'm glad he's found a good mesh with Luka because I think they're a dynamic duo and they got some size and support with those guys. So Dallas is a dangerous team too. So I just think Kyrie had some growing up and doing. I'm glad to see that he's done.
Now in the East, I will say this. I'm still saying look out for Milwaukee. I just think once you get say that again.
He said for what?
Because outside of Doc Rivers, who I don't have any faith in as a coach, I think when you get a guy like Giannis and Dame on the same page in the playoffs, where we start talking about,
they lost to 3 straight lottery teams. What are we talking about here?
But playoffs about stars too, Don. They got 2 bona fide stars. What
they lost to 3 in a row.
Playoff basketball is a little bit different than regular season. And
they lost 3 in a row to 3 of the sorriest teams in the league, and I'm supposed to watch for them?
Oh no, that doesn't. Yeah, because that doesn't happen ever, Don. That doesn't happen.
They lost to the Wizards.
Playoff teams don't lose to non-playoff teams. That doesn't happen.
3 in a row.
Anyway, who knows? They could be fine tuning. You don't know. Like
fine tuning what?
And Dame didn't play in 2 of those games.
Sure.
It's a team game.
So anyway, we talk about situational basketball when we talk about going into the playoffs. I think any close game, you're expecting Giannis to keep you in most games, and you're expecting for Dame to close them. I think they are talented and scary at the right positions to be able to make it a hard out. We know Boston for what we've seen them to be. They get to the big stage and they wet the bed. We can't prove that Jason and Jalen are going to do anything other than what they've done. Tag team, keep away with the basketball and not be able to come through to get the win when it matters the most in the playoffs or in the championship. Kudos to them for getting there, but haven't been able to seal the deal for the Kobe heir apparent. So I would like to go with a guy who's won a championship, and that's Giannis. And if he has a healthy Chris Middleton and Dame Lillard, you can forget about it. I'm sorry. Like, good luck beating that team.
Yeah. But you got anything for the lady? You good?
With that, coach?
I do feel like the Mavs they're a team that a lot of people don't like to acknowledge until they get to a certain point in the season. The only people I ever hear talking about the Mavs are Ant and Pick, for real. That's about it.
And I'll talk about them a lot.
Right. And so, and that's my thing. Nobody really talks about them until they get to a certain point in the season. And if they're in the playoffs, it's like they're not hear all this conversation. The same with Milwaukee, though. And I've never been a big fan of either team. Not because I'm like hating, but I just don't follow them that often. And so kind of to what you were saying, Don, about any team, for real, any team. Yes, it's a team sport, but you need to have your team there. You put together a certain type of team to get, your results. If your starters are out, that will affect your team dynamics, how they play. The starters typically, they're supposed to play well together, all of them. So I think that matters. But the NBA season, they have so many games. Losing to terrible teams back to back, but still getting into the playoffs, that really didn't matter that they lost to them, which is speaks volumes. Because on top of that, those terrible teams, it didn't affect their season either by winning against them.
It wasn't going to affect their season.
Didn't get the Wizards into the playoffs. So I mean, basketball isn't as tight as far as the season and the games that you win and lose as football would be, because they have less games, obviously. And in football, it could literally come down to like
a field goal.
Yeah, that one game or field goal or something like that. So I feel like with basketball, it's a little more versatile, I guess you would say, is the way you play in the regular season. and then everyone seems to step it up towards the end of the season, and then of course in the playoffs. Like we were having this conversation about the standings, and like I said, we were talking about the standings of the West at the time. I want to say Golden State was like maybe 10 or 11 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look like they were going to go to the playoffs, and I'm like, y'all forget how they play at the end of the season. So they're in Golden State, they lost some games that we could look at them sideways for, but guess what? Guess where they at right now? So it's a team sport, but it kind of all depends on the grand scheme of things. You got to look at the big picture with basketball.
Okay.
Look, that's all I have to say about that.
Losing streaks at the end of the season. Yeah, kind of show you losing streaks at the end of the season. Kind of tell you they're going on the downward path. So,
but here's the thing: in the middle of the season, they were lower than what they are after losing those 3 games. They're
Milwaukee
still going
Bucks
to the playoffs.
Were number 1 seed before they fired their coach, and they've been going down ever since.
I understand.
There's your trend right there. But,
who won the championship last year?
Denver.
What was wrong with Denver going into the playoffs last year? They lost like 5 games.
But to a point, which is I think it's more important for a team like Miami to be healthy, rested, and ready. Like the games they lost, they weren't going to fall out the 2 seed. They weren't going to catch the 1 seed.
My only point was that they weren't hot going into the playoffs.
Right.
Don saying they lost. They had lost like 5 games in a row,
right,
until the playoffs. And then
how we know they're not doing it on purpose for their position? Like you said, do you want to be at a certain position in the playoffs? There's certain places you
home games, home games. You supposed to be afraid of small teams. If you in the NBA, you supposed to think you're the best at all points in time.
But that happens, Don. That sounds good for the program, Don. That sounds good for the brochure. But that's not. We all know NBA teams tank for positioning and different things, especially when you get toward the playoffs, because in regards to matchups. NBA is about matchups. And a lot of these teams, whether the coaches will admit it or not, will give a player the day off for load management or whatever they want to call it. And it's really because you can justify the fact that if you don't win, you get into a better position.
2011, I believe it was Portland. They forfeited a win or 2 so that they could line up with the Mavericks because that's what they said they wanted.
Yep.
That didn't work out well.
Yep.
So it happens though,
I mean, you get what you ask for. So sometimes it's a gamble, but nonetheless, sometimes people are a little more strategic than what's on the surface.
Right.
Hey, Ant, I think your coming to Jerry moment has given you some more enlightenment too, man.
No. Let me be clear. No. Let me be clear. I always have great takes here, but the problem I had with what you said, with the whole what the world wanted to see, you sound like you're going that delusional. We're gonna win the Super Bowl every year type fan.
No.
I already seen the post already.
Up with the stars, the bookies wanted to see it. Come on, man.
Ain't you know that's real?
Somebody stick the kid and make her miss shots.
What I'm saying to you is this: it was a couple questionable calls that were a little bit one-sided. I think they wanted to have our.
It happens every night, though, don't it?
I'm talking about NCAA. I'm talking specifically to that game.
In any sport, little league.
If you watch that game, the second half, it was a couple. UConn was setting those picks the same way all game, but when it was a close call and a late call, those were offensive calls, and I was setting good picks the same way. Arms up, shoulders up, and I'm not trying to be the conspiracy theory guy. I just am leaning a little bit conspiracy, not total conspiracy. But like I said, I just think that was the matchup that was going to bring the biggest rating, and to ensure that it was nothing wrong with if they got a couple marginally questionable calls at the end to ensure that. That's all I'm saying. And if I watched the whole game and felt that way as it got close.
All right, so we got to move on here because we got a few more topics to get to. Another one of the quick topics we got so far that everybody seems to be talking about at this point here is that the Houston Texans have just got better. They got better because Buffalo decided they didn't want to keep the number one receiver because they thought they had enough with the tight end and the running back. So they traded Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans.
That's my. I love it for Houston. Don't understand it for Buffalo unless, like I said, he was just that big of a headache in the locker room. They're eating $31 million against the cap for a team who's already hasn't been able to sign some of their key players like Poyer, another defensive back. I think he just signed with someone else. I can't. His name's mentioned. Buffalo needed. They didn't. It was something in that locker room, and like I said, Houston benefited from that. Because anytime you give a 2025 second round draft pick for a guy like that, it tells me, and you soften it with additional picks this year to get him out of the locker room. It was something definitely that was going sour, and that was a call from Josh Allen or someone in that head office that said, "Get him out of here."
Lady A.
Okay. So I can tell y'all exactly what happened.
Give us the got the tea. Here comes the tea.
Give us the
everything I've ever told y'all about Buffalo is true. Can y'all not see it? They don't like winning.
The Cowboys of the AFC.
Oh, no. No.
Alvin,
I'm
hear
biased.
me out.
I'm biased.
You biased? You a Buffalo fan?
Well, Sean McDermott's. I played with him for 5 years. I cheer for Sean McDermott. He's a former teammate of mine.
So well, you let me know when they win the Super Bowl.
I want him to do well, but I know he wants to win. I just don't think they're putting him in position.
It's past him. It's bigger than him. It's bigger than him. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They don't know how to win. They can get to a certain point. They can even get you to the Super Bowl, but they're not going to win. That's what they do. This is what Buffalo does.
You make it sound like the Jets.
I mean, that's what they do. So when I say the things that I say about Buffalo, and last season, y'all were like, yeah, Buffalo doing good. I was sitting there like this. Because I knew they weren't going to go but so far. And the same with the Lions. That's another conversation. But nonetheless, when they have the opportunity, they find some way to mess it up. That's what they do. So that's what happened. You see it. Y'all understand it. That's what happens. It's gonna happen again too.
What you got, Ant?
You're looking at the best team in Texas. I hate to break it to you. And listen, like I said, I'm not bashing the Cowboys. We're just looking at it from a sheer acquisitions point. Okay, they won more playoff games than the Cowboys did last year. They have a younger, more capable quarterback than the Cowboys. They just went and got one of the premier receivers in the NFL, paired with a young, fiery coaching staff that is proven will make moves necessary to win. This is a very nice looking organization that is not too far removed from. You can't let the prisoners run the asylum. You see how you ain't even talking about that no more? When you win, when you actually make moves that matter, when you put your team in a position to be fruitful for the long term, you're not worried about making it. I never heard somebody say, "Let's make the team CJ's friendly." It's nonsense. So I'm just saying, from a fan, listen, y'all got something to do, and you know who I wouldn't want to go play? Them.
Yeah,
true.
I welcome it. Bring more. Hey, I'm not letting it go. Man. I'm not letting that go.
We're not going out there.
You have to be real, Al.
You're not strapping it on and go out there. Pause. You're not putting on a helmet to go play the game. So that's cool. But when they go out there and get shellacked, then you're gonna be what?
We were a better team than they were last year. They got better this year.
Who got better?
Houston.
I thought you said the Cowboys got better.
No.
You said we were a better team because we were 12-5 and they weren't?
No, I think we were a better team last year. I think throughout the whole season, we were a better team. They were a team that started off rough, grew into becoming a better team, and they were a 10-17 that made the playoffs as a wild card. I take nothing from that. But I think in totality, we throughout from week 1 to week 17, all encompassing, we were a better team than Houston, Texas. Now, if we are right now, that may be a to be determined situation because they have made some quality moves. Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs. I don't know why we couldn't get Stephon Diggs to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. That's a question that I've been asking the whole time. If all it took was a next year draft pick, I mean, that would have been a perfect compliment to CeeDee and giving CeeDee some help.
And Dak and Stephon?
Huh?
You gonna pay CeeDee and Stephon and the quarterback and Michael Parsons?
Man, you know this is funny money. It's NFL, man. They can make.
Well, I mean,
they don't
have.
Yeah, they ain't gonna spend that funny money. I tell you that.
You got the cap space.
Buffalo is paying some of that money because they're eating some of that, so they have to pay some of that. They're eating some of that, so it's not like this is a situation. It's almost not quite the Denver. It's not quite the Denver Russell Wilson payday, but Buffalo's still paying him. You're just supplementing what they're not paying because it's 31 million of dead money left over.
Hey, said that's his boy.
So because Pick say that the cap ain't real, but at the end of the day, they don't have much cap space. Dallas does not have much cap space.
But you re-sign, you push down the road, restructure somebody's deal. We got to save money for Parsons and CD. I get it. But like I said, the salary cap went up, 31 or 41 million this year as well from the adjustment this past winter when it came out of the meetings. So there's more money there. And like I said, I'm just glad that we're not restructuring and re-signing Dak to an extended contract. That's when we're playing smart football.
So let me say this real quick to you, Al. The record doesn't always indicate who the better team is.
Absolutely. That's why I said we want to.
Because what matters is who you play.
Okay.
Dallas has to play the NFC East twice. Mm-hmm. The NFC East in recent years ain't really been hitting like that. So
what's the NFC South, Lady A? They're in the work.
I'm saying as far as your schedule, your schedule is what determines your record.
AFC South. I'm sorry, AFC South. Excuse me.
Right. What I'm saying is your schedule determines how well how well your record is, but that doesn't mean that you are a good team. You can have an easy schedule and your record depicts an amazing season. So and the only reason why I'm saying that, I'm not necessarily disputing that the Cowboys were not better than the Texans, but at the end of the season, the Texans went further. And then as far as right now, you're saying, well, as far as who's the better team right now, that's left to be determined. But keep in mind, your team has not made any major moves this offseason. Everyone's looking at y'all sideways a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, but some of those players that you said made them a better team.
You said what?
I said we actually lost some of those players that you said made us a better team.
Right.
And the addition by subtraction sound good, but it's like, listen now, at a certain point, we got to start making 1 + 1.
You're 100% right. We have to do something. And I think it's still time to make that. But we also have, like I said, we've drafted well. We have some good things in the pipeline. And I think it's important to continue to develop that talent. And like you said, I'm hoping. Like I said, I'm on the fence like with some of these things as you are in regards to being unsure but it wasn't a lot of people. I'm sad we didn't get. Only one that I really thought that would have made our team drastically better and would have filled a position of need was Derrick Henry. The other ones, I'm fine with not going out and spending the bank. It was a lot of teams like the Commanders. I give them all the hands up. They made a lot of good moves. Have they gotten better? That's to be determined too. But it looks like they have. But like I said, so we got a draft that's coming up. We got to fulfill a couple of needs, and we need a couple players to step up. And we need, like I said, but we know what it comes down to. Our season every year comes down to what Jerry said. We'll go as far as Dak takes us.
Yep. With that being said, this is the first Saturday, and we got Don here ready for his question of the month. He sent out to everyone earlier during the week, so you had a chance to do a little research and see what you want to do. Do you want to describe the whole thing, or you want me to describe the whole thing, Don?
I got it. It's easier if I do it because I came up with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I need 4 players. It's draft season. I need 4 players. I need one, your favorite all-time draft pick, right? Your number 1 favorite all-time draft pick. That's 1 player. 2, your pleasant surprise draft player. Who surprised you out of all the draft picks that you like, wow, you didn't expect him to be that, right? That's the 2nd player. 3rd player is somebody you wanted your team to draft, but they didn't draft Obama, and he became
I know. I'm on the
nice.
phone, Edison.
And the 4th one is the biggest disappointment in the draft. Yeah, so this is fun. So there's the question, and I'll go first. My favorite all-time drafted player, Darrell Green, number 28, Washington Redskins. 20 seasons, 54 interceptions, 6 pick sixes, 7 Pro Bowls, 2 times second team All-Pro, 1 time first team All-Pro. Fastest man in the league, ran everybody down from Tony Dorsett, Eric Dickerson.
You said it twice.
Name anybody, he ran the Bama down. Great, all-time great. Top 10, definitely all-time cornerback in league history. My favorite all-time.
Pleasant surprise.
2, favorite, my pleasant surprise, number 46, Alfred Morris. 6th-round draft pick out of Florida Atlantic University. Had 1,600 yards rushing his rookie season. Of course, that was 2012 season with RG3, but hey, he came out of nowhere. Nobody expected him to run like he did. So yeah, 2-time Pro Bowler, ran for like 6,000 yards, I think, for 4,700 yards in Washington. So yeah, that's my number 2 guy. Number 3, the player you wanted, he wanted to select, but got drafted by another team. I was gonna go with Santana Moss because they wanted Rod Gardner. I said no, that's too easy. I actually in 2012, I remember I wanted Russell Wilson in the 2nd round. That's weeks before they had made the trade with the Rams to move up to number 2. I wanted Russell Wilson in the 2nd round because I knew he would be there. And we see what happened with Russell Wilson.
Legion of Boom.
Yeah. But how many times have you been to a Pro Bowl without Legion of Boom? He was that man for a long time, Joe. Yeah. Number 4, my biggest disappointment, I was going to go with Andre Johnson, who was a 1st-round draft pick of the Washington Redskins in 1996. He never played down for Washington. In 3 seasons, he played 3 games, and all of them were with Detroit. Yeah. Colossal bust, but that's not my biggest disappointment. My biggest disappointment was the 2008 NFL draft, the 2nd round, when they decided they wanted to pick up Devin Thomas, Fred Davis, and Malcolm Kelly instead of drafting who I wanted was Deshaun Jackson. They could have had Jordy Nelson as well, but yeah, they picked Fred Davis and Devin Thomas over Deshaun Jackson. My biggest disappointment was the 2nd round of the 2008 NFL draft. Who you got?
Well, I can go next. I'm ready. Let me pull myself up here in the middle. I'm ready. I can take on this one right here. I'm a Falcon fan. I got plenty ammo for each one of these categories. Take a pick. My favorite pick of all time is gonna be Michael Vick. Okay. When they start making commercials about the Vick experience, the little roller coaster, absolutely crazy.
News, man.
Watching him do what he did in Minnesota, at the end of the game, there's nowhere to go. He breaks through and he's off to the races. Touchdown game.
Flips 2 guys. Yeah.
I went and watched him play in San Antonio when New Orleans dome was messed up. The Superdome messed up. They played in San Antonio. I didn't realize how fast he was, man, until you see him in person. Boy got wheels. Pleasant surprise for me. 2018 6th-round pick, 4-year Louis Kahn. He has led the league in tackles the last 3 years. Wow. Atlanta failed to pay him. He's a Jacksonville Jaguar now. Go figure.
Tough.
6th round. I told you I got plenty of MO. There's a couple of them. We'll leave it at that one. Then player I wanted that we didn't draft. Let me see. Name a Georgia player. They had the opportunity to take Todd Gurley. Didn't do it. They took an offensive lineman that's no longer in the league. They had a chance to take George Pickens. They drafted old boy from USC. Opportunity to draft Jalen Carter. I mean, we know the lifespan of running back, but it is what it is. That's my personal opinion. Last but not least, Nakobe Dean. They drafted a guy from Montana State who I'm sorry, not Montana State, South Dakota. Played quarterback, turned linebacker. And now he's not even playing. I digress. We're gonna get away from that. Anyway, the biggest disappointment, I have 2 or 3 of these. I'm gonna give you 2. One because I watched him play on a weekly basis. Marlon Davis, defensive end, Auburn. Drafted in 2022 in the 2nd round. I watched him play in the SEC. Nobody could do anything with him. He got to the league. He got lazy. He got signed. He did his 4 years with Atlanta, and I think it was the Rams picked him up. He's been cut again since then. He got into the league and just like, okay, I'm here. I'm here. But you gotta make that money. But the other one, Lawrence Sidbury.
Lawrence Sidbury.
I don't know why they drafted Lawrence Sidbury.
Man, don't do that, Sid.
And guess what? That was a Dan Quinn pick.
Don't do that. You hurt me to my heart now, Sid, with the Lawrence Sidbury pick.
I'm just telling you what.
That's a Richmond guy. That's a DC guy.
I'm sorry.
That guy goes to my church.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You told me, man, nobody be caring about them friendships, man.
I just hate Ant.
Hey, he been up in Washington.
He go to your church. He your church member.
He my church member, man.
Hey, he could be a deacon then, but he can't be a great draft pick. That's what he can't be.
I thought you were gonna say Andre Bruce.
Oh man.
#1 overall, right? Next Lawrence Taylor.
I told you I got a whole bunch of them. I got a whole bunch of them. There's more, but I'm leaving those 2 right there. I got a bunch of them. There's a bunch. Who wants to go next? Ant, Lady A?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Hit me with the first question.
Your favorite all-time draft pick?
Favorite all-time draft pick would have to be Michael Irvin.
Okay.
Why? Because he was the catalyst for the championship run. He was the one who cared so much about winning that it brought him to tears every game. He was taking names. He was writing them down. Hey, he got to go. This I was going to say something. This such and such is a loser. He got a loser mentality. If it's not for somebody who cares more than about getting a check at that juncture of where the Cowboys franchise was, with getting Jimmy added to the staff as well, we don't know if it takes longer maybe or if it even happens, because you need somebody to kill him. What's the next one?
I'm sorry.
Your pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Biggest surprise.
This as a draft pick. This is a tough one for me. This is a tough one for me. Can we skip that one? I want to go to another one because that one's a tough one for me.
Player you wanted the team to draft, but they didn't.
Ooh.
I can tell you one.
Oh, I know one. Randy Moss. Jesus Christ. We didn't draft Randy Moss. Are you kidding me? That's just the obvious one. Let me go with my personal one. It has to be Earl Thomas. I wanted Earl Thomas so bad. Do you hear me? I'm a Texas guy.
Right. Thank you.
I wanted him to play for the Dallas Cowboys very badly.
There you go.
Clean that up.
Yeah.
Man, we see what that guy did. We see what Cam Chancellor did, but Earl was the brains behind that whole operation. So I was most disappointed, I wanted him the most on the football field for the Dallas Cowboys. All right. What's the other one? The most disappointing?
Biggest disappointment. Biggest disappointment.
I got you. I gotta go with Morris Claiborne. God, I mean, come on. LSU guy, what was he, like third or something? We drafted him.
I think it was fourth, wasn't it?
This guy never panned out for us ever. He went to Cincinnati, which a lot of our receivers have done, and actually played decent. But for the star power that he's supposed to have, like Honey Badger type level of a player, ball hawk, etc., he was out there getting turned more than a merry-go-round. So it was pretty sad to watch that for years on end. He's hurt with a shoulder. Is he big enough to play cornerback in this league? Stuff like that, man. The biggest disappointment to me by far, because I was thinking he was going to be one of the bookends on a defense playing corner that was going to set us up for the next 10 years. So most pleasant surprise, I can't think of one of the. Oh, you know what? I'll go with the recent draft. I'll say Tyler Smith.
Okay.
I did not expect for him to catapult to being possibly one of the best guards in the NFL. That they're saying better than this guy, but like he's solidified himself. And he's had penalties like any guard, any tackle, anybody on the line is gonna have. But you could put him out there and he can take care of himself. So for him to be what now we can consider a cornerstone, if we can put a tackle out there with him, you're looking at whoever's going to be playing quarterback for the Cowboys over the next 5 to 7 years. They're going to be safe on that blind side. So, I would say Tyler Smith for sure.
All right.
Is it everybody?
Oh,
no,
you finished.
That was it. The only one I missed was the pleasant surprise. Yeah.
Lady A, yeah, which one?
Okay, I can go.
Go ahead.
So I don't like when Don goes because he always picks at least one person off my list, and I don't like it.
Really?
But my favorite of all time was definitely Darryl Green. I feel like it's obvious reasons. Like that man was ridiculous. He very, very talented. I mean, he's literally, if you're a Washington fan, Darryl Green should be on your list as far as favorite players ever. So there's that. I'm gonna skip one because I have my pleasant surprise draft pick, and one of my biggest disappointments was the same. From the same year. My pleasant surprise and my biggest disappointment were from the 2022 draft. So it was very recent. Brian Robinson Jr. was the pleasant surprise. I was very excited. And then, it was like a roller coaster for him. I was like, oh, okay, Brian Robinson, okay. That's good. Then he got shot. Then not only did Superman, recover really fast from being shot, but then he did well that season. So that was a pleasant surprise for me. At the same time, my biggest disappointment came from our 5th round pick, Cole Turner. So, they really thought they were doing something with him. And that led to a conversation that we had on this show before about their 5th round picks. Not often are the Commanders in a position where they're having good 5th round picks. The last 5th round pick that we had that was good was Fred Smoot. That was
second round.
That was years.
That was second round.
No, Smoot I thought was 5th round.
Second round. Second round pick.
Late first.
He was second round, Sean.
Okay.
Well, they had issues with the second round pick.
Who did they pick 5th round that it was good that year? It was that same year. They haven't had since then.
What, second round picks? They've second round picks have been garbage.
No, 5th round picks are garbage too.
Y'all do well.
Regardless, in 2022, it was Cole Turner, so that was a garbage pick. Now, player that you wanted the team to draft, but they didn't. Okay, y'all ready? Since 1991, 92, I have not been satisfied with any of the tight ends that they have chosen to put on the team, draft for our team, or the majority of the offensive line. So you can pick a person that's in that position that have been drafted since 1992. I would give them 92. I have not liked it. So I have way too many names and I cannot pick one.
Chris Cooley?
Chris, I said many people that they did not draft.
Oh. You mentioned tight ends.
Yeah, tight ends. Okay, since 1991, 92, how many tight ends have they drafted that were good?
Chris Cooley?
Okay, and that's a long time. I'll give you a long time frame.
The guy out of Maryland?
The guy
out of Maryland. He used to play with Tennessee.
Amazing, huh? You don't
he played with Tennessee. Yeah, he was really good in Tennessee.
Yeah, you don't remember his name, do you?
His name slips my mind, but he was really good there. So stop playing.
You call off names now.
Yeah, I know. I can't Google it because I'm on the phone. Damn. He used to go to Maryland. Daggone it. Alvin, you know who the tight end you play for Maryland, right?
Oh, Frank Wycheck?
Thank you. Frank Wycheck. They drafted him.
Two since 1992. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you said none. That's two more.
No. I said since then, there's so many. Like, we have that gap. And then as far as offensive line,
Chris Samuels?
I can tell you in the past 5 years, I've been waiting.
Chris Samuels?
What's the other
guy? What's the guy with
Trent Williams?
Right now?
Okay.
Trent Williams, Chris Samuels. You talking about the guard that they had that they didn't want to pay? Brandon Sheriff, thank you. Yeah, all pros,
Okay.
They always get tackled. They used to always get tackled, right?
Picked up by
They don't always get tackled, right? They do not.
They used to always get tackled right. Yes, they did. From Joe Jacoby to Jim Lachey.
Well, you're going too far back now.
He's all the way up to Trent Williams.
I said from 92 until now. Do we have enough for a full offensive line?
Chris Samuels? God.
Do we have enough for a full offensive line?
No, they never addressed the offensive line in the first round. That's what one of my issues was.
No, I didn't say first round. I said in the draft, period.
They did.
They don't normally. That's my thing. They don't draft.
They don't replace
certain positions.
They had decent people on the offensive line.
Enough to create a full offensive line.
Hey,
that's your biggest disappointment, lady. Is that what you're going
with?
That
is my biggest disappointment.
Okay.
Hence why we don't have an offensive line. How long has it been since we had a capable offensive line? So we should be doing what during the draft?
So I guess Trent Williams and Brandon Sheriff weren't good enough.
Not by themselves, no.
By themselves, they were pretty daggone good on that left side.
Okay.
Right.
Both of them making Pro Bowls and stuff. They decided
I'm not throwing shade to them. I like them, but nonetheless.
All right, Alvin, what you got?
I'll make this short and sweet, man. My favorite all-time draft pick, of course, is Troy Aikman, man. 3 Super Bowls, first pick, man. 1 in 15 turnaround. What more can you say?
Okay.
My biggest surprise, I'm gonna keep it pretty much to recent players for the most part. My biggest surprise was Dak. I mean, I didn't think we were gonna get a starting quarterback for the last 7, 8 years, 8, 9 years, however many number of years it's been, from a 4th round draft pick when we had Tony Romo on the men and coming back and was supposedly doing all that. So that surprised me. And Deron Bland, first team All-Pro. Another surprise draft pick that's turned into a great play. Sure. My biggest disappointment, it's several of them. I mean, he kind of stole one of my. I actually stole my thunder because he reminded me, and that might have took place of my guy. But the biggest disappointment was who he didn't pick up. In regards to missed draft pick, the Patrick Mahomes draft, 2017. We picked a guy named Taco Charlton. And 2 picks later, Pittsburgh picked a guy named T.J. Watt at the same position.
Right.
So that's my biggest misdraft pick. And my biggest disappointment is kind of funny because these weren't bad players. So I don't want you to think they're bad players. But it's just because of the situation with them. It would be Sean Lee and Van Der Esch, kind of for the same reason. Both
always
of them
hurt.
were great players, but always hurt. Sean Lee was one. Our defense was phenomenal. Or, I mean, I don't know how they do the player improvement position thing, but Sean Lee made plays all over the field for us, but could never stay on there for a full game. Could never play consecutive games. And of course, both of them, I think, careers were shortened by neck injuries. With Van Der Esch is still to be determined, but I think both will be shortened by knee injury. I think Sean was even knee or neck, and I believe Vander's going to be a neck. So that's my biggest disappointment because I think they both could have had hellified careers for the Cowboys, but were shortened because of injuries.
Okay.
A player you wanted to draft, but got drafted by another team.
That was T.J. Watt. When we chose Paco Charlton.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, 2 picks earlier.
Yeah.
But Randy Moss,
that was the one I wanted to, Alvin. T.J. Watt.
Yeah, Randy. I mean, Ant hit it on the head. I mean, we sat there and Randy Moss, I think, was a Cowboy fan or something crazy, and we just sat there and listened to all this character thing like we were like we had a whole bunch of priests in our locker room or something. I would never ever forgive them for that or forget that because it was the craziest thing in the world. We got places called the White House where they got more drugs than the daggone DEA.
Somebody Mike. We are not talking politics.
We worried about the daggone. We worried about all field issues.
No. Talking about politics, Al.
No. They rented a house called the White. They called it the White House. It was just a regular White House.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I didn't know.
That's where they did all the deeds.
I thought they were doing drugs in the White House. No, they rented the White House and they had all type of drugs, all type of women.
Yeah. And they called it the White House for a lot of reasons. I heard. You know what I'm saying?
That's where Michael Irvin used to hang out at.
Exactly.
That's why his lip always ashy because he got stuff on his nose.
The White House was in his name.
Right, ladies and gentlemen. That will be our show for tonight. We went a little long today because that question of the month pick was getting involved a little bit more studying than we actually realized. And we're glad that Dunn brought it to us. And we'll wait to pick it back so he can sit down and give us his little answers to this question as well. Thank everyone for joining us. Anybody got anything else you want to put out before we go? Anybody?
Memories, not excuses.
Yes, I have something.
Go ahead, lady.
Make sure you tune in the next couple minutes if you have Peacock to WrestleMania and see my people.
You got nothing. Go ahead.
The Rock and Roman Reigns. Okay.
If you smell
and said you hurt me deep today, man, by going against my church member, man.
Oh my goodness.
Pray for him. But he had disappointed draft.
You know I got a step pulled up.
He ain't pay his tithes.
I promise you.
I was trying to be nice when I bring his stats up. I can bring his stats up. I still got
They traded in Indianapolis, man. He went to Indianapolis, man. He had a couple years, man.
Yeah.
But he actually still in the Atlanta area.
Give me them stats, Sid.
Oh, Lord.
We're not doing that to that man today.
Hey, we do it out the air. We do it out the air.
Catching straight bullets.
That's our church.
Catching straight.
But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on First Thing Podcast. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Twitter. You can catch us on all the different platforms out there. Join us. Come in. Like and subscribe. We're just gonna stay hot like we hot right now. It's gonna get even better when football season come back in. Disregard Ant. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All I gotta say is go Dogs.
first person